Greetings and Hotep. We're live here on the channel of Oracle Network and from your only you Divination Network. And we said that we were going to remain true to form and bring you as many as we can of the Oracle divinations. We are going to be doing consulting the Zulu divination oracles for this evening. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you and thank you and greet you with the right hand of fellowship by saying welcome, welcome, welcome. And this particular oracle has been previously done ahead of time. I will consult with the oracles to give you the answers for the nation. And these are oracles that are done for the nation at large. When I speak of North America, South America, and Canada, this is considered as Turtle Island. And we are on this island that represents a turtle. So this is for those indigenous people who know that they're not descendant of slaves. We're not trying to hold anyone to a position of slavemanship, and we're not trying to rally around the fact that our ancestors were in slavery. We are now going forward, and we are not in the position of taking up the responsibility to carry out this slavemanship. And I wish most of you would come into consciousness. We must do oracles, we must do rituals, and we must also consult with our higher selves. And you notice that I'm not saying consult with the ancestors. I think I made it plain that in one of my videotapes, you might have not seen it, that we've entered into the Godship now. Our Ori is just bouncing off our heads because it's so full of information, and we are taking it upon ourselves to give credit to the Orishas that have been laying there getting fat and rich off of all of, they try to throw mother on a bus, whichever one they can. But nevertheless, I'm going to keep, even in the White House, they're doing readings. Now, there's a number of people out there that are attempting to get their thought of this disservice. And the ancestors have already told me that because the gods are walking the face of this earth now, we can speak to you with this harsh tone because we're the gods now on this crucial times now. It's very necessary that even white folks bob too far what's about to happen in our climate because people are changing the atmospheric pressures. You cannot go by the moon anymore, cannot go by the stars. You cannot even look at the weather because they're using weather weaponry and they're changing and causing earthquakes and fires. So I'm sure you know this, all of you agents out there know this, but I had slowed down on my paranormal because we had got so paranormal that we were drawing people from all over the world that wanted to be interviewed. Why don't you go out and take a listen to my blog talk and listen to all of the great, outstanding paranormal people who had the ability to have their third eye open and who were able to come on my show and be interviewed. I'm trying to upload those shows, represent my channel well with the Oracle Divination Network. I'm not, some of you Christians might be highly offended. I was there too. Trust me, I was deep in the church. But at the same time, the Spirit was calling me. And the Spirit whispered to me that I needed to get out. Get out is what the Spirit said. I had to be obedient to the Spirit, even though I had finished theology school, spending 1.5 years into Liberty Temple full gospel evangelistic training and having a ministry called Family Affair Ministry that I worked in diligently as a missionary. So I was deep in, but I also had to get out. Say it with me, get out, because there was a higher calling on me. I was told that I was an ancestor's child and that many gifts would be bestowed upon me if I would allow God to use me for healing. So I was a vessel, an avatar that was used for healing for about 5 years of my life in the hospital. I'm a school teacher by profession, but I ended up in the hospital working there in respiratory therapy and pathology, histology, cytology for over 5 years. So I know that there was something unusual going on with my life. And I knew that I had to get out of Christianity because it was perpetuated by our slave masters who was keeping us further engulfed into slavery. I did not realize it was the same religion that our slave masters used and that they had no spirit. They were not consulting the spirits. But I do remember as a little child, it was so interesting. God had exposed me to spiritual things right in my neighborhood by placing me in an all spiritual church that really went by the spiritual books. I had a foundation as a young girl. And I had forgotten about this and went on to be Pentecostal. I knew that something was strange. They weren't burning candles and they weren't calling on the ancestors. So as I went back to this church after I grew up as an adult, they welcomed me back and said, where had I been? They remembered me as a child when I used to come to the church. It was directly behind our house, right there in Consult the Zulu. And I like to reach about who those Zulus are who actually have put together the Oracle Divination readings. You can do this on your own. I'm not doing anything fantastic. This is a ranking order. It's a military procedure. And you have to follow chain of command. You cannot go and visit God because you're going to Oladula Mare, who is a representative for God, who comes down here clothed in matter. So you can embrace Oladula Mare, but remember, he, she, or it is when God knew you needed to have someone that you can call on and that you can consult your higher self. So he gave each of us our very own personal God. That's right. That's why when they say, God will never leave you nor forsaken you, he's always there. They're right. And he's in your being. He actually becomes and looks like you. When I and the Father are one. When you've seen me, you've seen the Father. You must say that to yourself. Whoever came and told you that wasn't lying. When they said, I and the Father are one, you and the Father are one. So don't go around here talking about, we better wait till Martin comes. When Martin comes, he gonna deliver all of us. You are the gods. Put down your idol gods and lay them aside. Come away from your altar. Get up off your knees. Stop prostrating yourself. You are coming to the Godhead now. You don't pray to anything. People bow down to pray to you. You must understand that a God cannot do anything else for you that's out in the atmosphere. You have to become the God. You are the gods. The God has been inside of you all along. Why don't you quicken that God? He, she, or it. We don't know the gender. So we call it he, she, or it. And you must understand that God has called you to wake up to become the gods that he knows that you can be. He has called you to become the gods. And you must wake up. You must come up out of the slumber. You've been asleep. You've been anesthetized. You've been out of your mind, begging and pleading with God to do this and to do that for you when you can do it for yourself. It's not about name it and claim it. It's not even about you. It's not even about you walking around here trying to see what God is going to do for you and praying and meditating and praying without ceasing and fasting. All of that is not necessary anymore. When you have the capacity to be a God, listen to me. Ye are God, little children, and ye have overcome them. And I'm trying to wake you up as best I can. I'm trying to get in your faces and wake you up, because you should have come into your Godhead a long time ago. We are eons behind because church has held us up. We've gone to the priests and priestesses and we asked them to put a bid in for us. But guess what? The veil has been torn, sisters and brothers. The veil has been torn. You no longer need to leave oxen and all kinds of cattle for sacrifice at the feet of the Lord and Savior, because you have become the Savior. That is only a title. You were God all along. And all that those ministering angels were trying to do is to wake you up. We are the expression of God. We have his essence. And we are ones that God has chosen to work. And as he works through each and every of us, we don't be a she, he, it. We just make ourselves available so he can reside in us. And as he resides in us, we consult our heads. And if we anywhere offer, we must credit it to our heads and to some fictitious God out there in the atmosphere, because we are the God. And as we come into our own senses and realize that we have to put our altars down, we have to commune with our ancestors. They're walking the face of this earth right now. I had a visitation, people. Recently, I had a death in the family, a very close brother of mine. I am the baby sister of 5 brothers. This particular brother cherished me the most as the baby sister. He took me around with him. He made sure I had things for Easter, for the Easter Sunday's dressing and the basket. He was just my big brother who I cherished so much. And we talked at least once every 2 weeks about everything. He was a chip off the old block. We both had come out of the churches knowing something was wrong. We were on to something. And we had opted to rapture our family. On the radio station with me, we talked about the work and the we had ahead of us. And we talked about what we were going to be doing. And this was the first time I had a family member that wanted to pair up with conscious-minded people. He whispered always, winked his eye when he was in the church saying, this ain't, and this ain't right. That ain't right. You got to have a black. And that's what his belief was. I had a vision from him in sleep while dreaming. To his grave, and I was able to pick up dirt from grave site. And I said, bro, I know you more now in the spirit than ever before. Come and visit anytime you want. Please come and visit me. Better be careful that you may have asked for. He called me in my sleep. I jumped clear up out of bed and went running as if I was on my way to get him to the hospital like he requested that I do. The phone has been ringing ever since I came back, seeing him off in his homegoing. But the strangest thing, when I would go to pick the phone up, say, this number does not exist. You've got the wrong number. I said, but the phone just rang and this was the last number that was dialed. And I would be on the phone saying, hello, is anyone there? It's almost as if he's trying to make contact with me and tell me something. And I've had other people to make remarks about his transition. I don't know if he's trying to make one of his regular phone calls to me and I missed out on our regular session or what. But I do think he's trying to make contact with me. And it's not just with my cell phone, it's with my house phone too. I pick up the phone and said, hello, and no one's there. And then I call the number back, and then they say, this number is no longer in service. Did he check out, but still tried to pick up the phone and call my number, or what? That's for another story in time, but I just wanted to share that with you. I will like to get into the oracle reading that I pulled up under the Zulu and share it with you. I know it's going to give me some answers and a connection to my dream. As a dreamer, you have to be very, very careful, because if you have the ability to put things together in your dream, you have to get to bed relatively early in order for you to finish that dream and go into the Delta realm. Or you get up too soon before the dream ends, or you may not never enter into the Delta realm. But it's very vital that we become dreamers. It's very vital that we become seers, and we all have this capability. I'm not the only one that can read oracles. You can read your oracles. You can read the ripples and the waves in the water. And we're trying to stay here in this area. I'm going to go over and get my book real quick, and then I will be right directly back so I can share with you the oracle reading. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Okay, now this preparation was done for you earlier in order to cut down on time, but I'd like to just read you a little bit about who the Zulus were or are. The Zulu divination: shells, nuts, grains of corn, stones, or bones have just been thrown. Make sure I got the right thing. Have just been the signs and the omens. Traditionally, numbers have perimeters and importance, and every one of them up to 1 million has a meaning. Let's see exactly what the meaning is. Consulting the oracles. In the oracles, the presents here are only the numbers from 1 to 13 will be used to predict the future. Now, I have prepared the oracles for you from 1 to 13, but I'd like to introduce you to the 5 symbols. And the 5 symbols are the warrior, just a minute here. I'm going to get these earphones plugged in. Okay, here we go. A little bit more light. Give us a chance to be able to see what we're doing here. How's everybody feeling this evening? You got your Omi Inca 7, and this is your Oracle Divination Network coming at you. Okay. The very first one I had, did I say number 4? It was number 4, wasn't it? Yeah, number 4. Make sure that I get this right. Okay, before. All right, here we go. Okay, this was number 4 I picked. This is the one that was facing up, number 4, and cattle. And it says, reading number 4, in Zulu, kun means he who holds strong together. Now is the time to stabilize your situation, to unite the various portions of your life, and to work with other people on the development of common projects. Don't seek to make progress on your own, but seek what you can do for others or in agreement with them. Taking pleasure in a job well done or from carrying out a task or duty will always lead to good results. You are not on earth to make only yourself happy, but to learn to appreciate what you're doing and to cooperate with others. And that is number 4. But with the actual cattle, it says, your financial affairs of your material problems will soon be resolved. Don't try to accumulate goods. If you let others profit from your possessions, everything will go well. Interesting. Now let's see what the second one was. That was number 4 and cattle. The next one is number 2. So I go to the page with number 2, and it is the male. And cubically, it says, number of represented perfection and distinction. There are derivatives, opinions, and differences in points of view. Dissension should be avoided by diplomacy and tact. This is not the moment to act strongly and in an individual manner built to follow others, to accept some dependency, charm, friendship, pleasureness, and honesty will have a better chance of success than apathy, shyness, deceit, or trickery. This is a period of some obscurity. Your personal sun is not visible at the time, but you know that after the night, the sun will shine again. Oh my God. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, the next one is the chief and number 10. The chief and number 10. Let's see what number 10. Anything over 12, you have to add it together. If it's a 13, you cannot use it. You have to add it, the 1 and the 3 together. And this happens to be a 10, so I don't have to add it together. And it is the chief. And it's Ishmael. And it says the number 10 is considered to be sacred number because it contains contains all the qualities of the 9 preceding numbers. It symbolizes perfection, achievement, and the final stage of a development. It symbolizes energy and great power over beings and things for those who are sincere in the motivation and persevering in their efforts. The number 10 is the star that guides human beings on the road to their destiny. It is a particularly powerful number. Number 5. So I go to number 5. Thank you so much for correcting that screen and bringing us back on. I go to number 5 and I go to the warrior. Number 5. This is Kum La Linu. Kum La Linu. According to Zulu tradition, the number 5 symbolizes the imperfection of man. You need to pay great attention and not start anything in impulse manner. It is not reasons for your emotion and your desire that are leading you. If you are not very careful, problems will follow. What you have accumulated could easily disappear due to an instant of folly or thoughtfulness and decision. It matters little that what you think of the current situation. Nothing should be undertaken. It is necessary to wait. Above all, calming your heart and your spirit. Now, this is the warrior and number 5, and here's what it says. You have been engaged in negative or destructive action, and you are facing a period of instability. You must govern your emotion, not let yourself be led by them. After the tempest, calm will return. Now here's our final one. Our final one is number 8 and female. Number 8. Number 8 and the female. And it says, Tobia Minwi Mibili. The symbols of number 8 is associated with conflict, struggle, and war. It relates to a period of abstaining, privilege, privation, or the loss of following gentler and more prosperous moments. The challenge of the number 8 requires engagement in a struggle that obligates you to life with less comfort and fewer resources. But in the end, you will emerge into a stage of material or spiritual expansion. Remember that nothing is even gained without less, and that to receive it, it is necessary, first of all, to give. What is new and good will arrive only when you put an idea, a project, or an individual to one side, possibly for good. Okay, and let's see what it says here with number 8 and the female. Number 8 and the female. This is a woman who needs you, your presence, your words, and who in return will help you. Perhaps you will be called to fight alongside of her. If that is the case, be easy to do so. It is in this way that you will preserve your good relationship. These are some interesting readings. I will say for the record that we have to constantly consult the oracles for everything we do. And at a time like this, we must stay close to the Spirit. We are now dismantling our altars. We're turning inwardly, consulting the higher self. And the I am in you is creating a spiritual lifeline. And that is something that I have used as a cliche. The I am in me is creating a higher source of spiritualness. And we must come out of the infantile stage and grow up and go into the adult stage, and to know that we need only to meditate, sitting quiet with ourselves, seeking from within a solution to our everyday problems, calling on the Godhead, our higher selves, to beseech us and to come and sit with us as we offer them the right hand of fellowship. And we sit there quietly, not speaking, but listening waiting to get the ear of the king and to get the direction from inwardly, knowing that there are no solutions on the outside of us, only answers from the inside. And when we get into a position that we can practice going into meditation, and we meditate without ceasing. We're not telling you to fast and pray. We're telling you to meditate on God and meditate on quietness and be seating God so that the God in you will rise up and you will begin to be able to speak a thing and it will come to pass. Just as we know that we have been waiting for God to hand feed us from hand to mouth, I'm telling you now, there's no orishas or deities out there that are going to feed you hand to mouth any longer. You have got to demonstrate and come out with your full Godhead and helping others to shed their skin. This is a time of the snake when you're shedding your skin. And the snake, it is a good thing to shed your skin and to come into a oneness with the Godhead consciousness. And yes, they've been saying for a long time the woman is God, but we have to also look in duality at that because the man exists within us, so he's God too. So as we put on our Godship and our head, as I told you, you must have a man over your head to cover you, or if you can't get a man, get a head rag. I do have a man over my head to cover me. So from time to time, I do wear the gala scarves, and I say that because right now we're in terrible times. Every time you look up, there is rumors of wars or someone being killed in the street. And as you know, I am playing Madam C.J. Walker, and I took on this role because Madam C.J. Walker actually had uh, uh, anti anti lynching programs where she got together with a number of women all over the world, and they fought against the anti-lynching wars, and they went to the White House to talk to President Eisenhower about eliminating this lynching and putting her foot down, making demands. We're going to have to be a lot like Madam C.J. Walker, also better known as Mrs. Sarah Breedlove, and we're going to have to come together. And we're not just talking about Black Lives Matters. We got to be more specific whose lives we're talking about that matters. And we got to go to our political parties and we've got to talk to them and get on the agenda. And a lot of Black women don't know how powerful they are and what we really can do in the arena. Now they keep saying get out and vote. And this is the first year I've lost momentum with any interest to vote because I don't have a candidate in mind that I would like to get behind. And everybody keeps asking, can Trump win? Yes, he can win again if we don't have a party that we can put in the office and get behind them, not only financially, but get behind them in morality as well. But we've got to look at what is the system doing for Black people. When we get them in the office, they turn their backs on us and they forget about us. It looks like we're going to have to start our own nations, come together with people to set up our chamber of elders, and then create our own constitution, our own bylaws. And I have beseeched brothers and sisters and said that these are some things that I would love to get involved in and trying to assemble. But you cannot do things as an island. You need those legs and those feet so that they can be your runners. I said, if you walk with me now, then you can run with me later. But God has said that he will send you to people to gather unto your own. Now, I was sitting there talking to my Facebook friends, and my system went out, and I had to go and charge up. So I'm going to cut this short so I could go back and be with my family. And I hope you enjoyed the reading today because they were done under Divination, the consulting of the Zulu Divination. So you can get an understanding of what type of solutions you can get for your all-time question. You can do this on your own. You don't need Omi to be there to do it. I'm just lifting you up to show you that all families should have some mechanism and some mediums for doing their readings. And they're all in the book there. You can find them in The Art of Divination. And I've told you about them. And I want to say that there's a lot of things that are coming down the pike for Black people. We're looking at the 400 years coming up with that new bill they have coming out. I think it is the HR 4212. And don't be shocked about that bill and what's getting ready to happen. I sense that they are getting ready to look at trying to deport a person if they don't know where their citizenship lies. And we've got to get into a habit of coming together, not necessarily on these airways, and talking about our elders' chamber and our constitutional laws. And we've got to lay down some foundation. All of those that have the intellect, that have the ability to write, need to come together, because we've got to get nation building going right away, like yesterday. And we've got to start looking at tribal membership, as well as getting someone to endorse us as a nation and as a clan. But the Moorish people are trying to lead the way. I'm very proud of what they're doing. The Moorish science groups, and then you also have Duke of Tears that's out there doing some great work and laying the foundation. As young as he is, it's almost like he was an avatar, like God had given him this information to share it with the world. And hopefully he can gather us together to help us finalize our nation and our sovereignty, because nobody's going to do anything for the Black folks because they feel sorry for us, because they say we're descendants of slaves. That has nothing to do with it. A lot of us were over here on Turtle Island long before any slaves came over here. And we were occupying, and we were functioning, and we were tradesmen. So we got to stop saying descendants of slaves. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you and give you anything because you're reminding a white person of how brutal they were to us, and they give us money out of shamefulness. That's not going to happen. We have got to talk about the fact that we were tradesmen, and we were here occupying before the red-skinned people came, and long before any Christopher Columbus came. We were already here. They tried to put us into slavery while we were here, but a lot of us didn't come over on those ships, and they cannot find any documentation or a recording us coming here. But you can get the Census Bureau and look back and see which slaves were actually coming over here from Africa. You can do that, because see, they've ran the whammy on us by lying to us, saying that we were brought over as slaves when many of us were already here occupied and as freedmen. And they came here and tried to put us in slavery, but they also put the Native Americans in slavery first. But nobody wants to talk about that. And they also tried to put their own white Anglo-Saxons in slavery as well. So we got to stop with this DOS stuff, daughters and sons of descendants of slaves. That does us no good. We are not descendants of slaves. They lied and perpetuated a lie, and they kept it going, and we picked up on it, and now our children don't want to learn anything about history because they don't want to hear about being descendants of slaves. So let's do better. And let's come together and create our own nations, like the Cree, the Cherokee, and like the Seminoles. Let's come together and create our own, and like the Geechee Gullips. Let's create our own nation, and we can start again. And we can use our own example from other nations out there who've laid the foundation for their judicial system, for their constitution system, their preamble. We can start again, because we need our own thing. We can't continue to let someone destroy us because of a lack of knowledge. And we have knowledge today, it's plentiful, so let's go after it. And I bid you farewell. Go out, set up your divination room, and start doing readings for yourself, and start going down on your knees, look that's within you, tapping that be not into existence, because you're God, little children, and ye will go and be a God. I look forward to meeting you and greeting you with the right hand of fellowship. Don't let this moment pass you by. The gods are waiting with their arms open wide. Don't let this moment pass you by. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Don't let this moment pass you by. Don't let this moment pass you by. Be a God and stand there with your arms open wide. Embrace yourself and know that nobody's coming after us but us. And we have to save ourselves. We have to look within and call out the Godhead that's within each of us. And we have to practice our craft, doing libation and doing our divination to make us a God, to find solutions for our end time problem. Remember, we have the magic. We've got the magic stick. Now let's use it. Oh, dabble and baba booey to you, y'all.